Test, test, 1, 2. Can you guys hear me? Kill this countdown layer. Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. I had some mic issues last year, but looks like we're good. What's up, EG? Everett Twix, Yellow Bye. Fort Knox Go. How you guys doing? Maverick, the only Jared in the house. What's up, Bandana? I see you. The mic is really low. Let me crank this thing up. It is maxed out. Music is really loud. I can work on that. Alright, how about that? Is that better? Music is way down. I can't even hear the music in my... There it is, barely. Is that good? Test, 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 test. 1, 2. Alright, cool. Let's get started. The stream is intended for educational purposes only. Is not intended to be used as financial advice. What a day. Everybody, emotions have been high. Everybody wanted to quit, exit all markets yesterday, and now everybody's bullish again. So I wanted to walk through some stuff. Because some levels hit that we talked about at last stream. It was pretty awesome to see it actually happen. And I just got home from work, put up the groceries, kids and the wife are at the movies, so it'd be a good time to do a stream. So I'm a little earlier than normal. And if you're new to the stream or watching this as it's recorded, because we're starting to archive these on the YouTube channel. If you're curious, we're Rainbow Trends. This is where you can find our website, rainbow-trends.com. You can see our users, that some of our more popular users up here. The big thing at the top is go check out our Discord link and come hang out with us in Discord. We're over 500 something users right now in there. And if you're curious about why the tools look so wild, we basically chase whales and market makers with colors, and we use also algorithms and bots to help us out, and that's what all these tools are. So if you got any interesting questions or anything like that about it, go up and check out the website, and you can find out more information about it, or shoot us a DM at any time. I'll get back to you eventually. But anywho, let me clean up this chart and get the bell curves out of the way. Let me clear my throat 1 second. Oh, and let me let everybody know we're live. Nope, I just retweeted my own tweet. That's all right. Anywho, if you guys have been following along and you can catch the old streams, we caught the jump the creek. This move here, this Wyckoff move here, whether it's reaccumulation or just redistribution, I don't care. We got our range high sweep on weaker colors. We came all the way down, and we jumped the creek here. We caught that, went up to the FOMC, or not the FOMC meeting, the CPI data, and then the CPI nuked it. And was really hoping we were going to get up to the higher range sweep, but we only made it through this. We only got to this order block, barely got above it, and then nuked back down, unfortunately. And then we've come back down, and now we've done another swing test into this order block here, or you call it rainbow pivot order block, whatever you want to call it. I just look at the pivots where we have double pivots typically, and it gives me basically a cheating way to easily identify order blocks with the tools. I'm not trader main, so I can't spot these manually, so I have to use the tools. But anyway, we came down and swept it last night, and we saw some alts completely nuke off the charts. And it bounced pretty good today on the open of the S&P, which I wasn't expecting. I was expecting the S&P not to do so hot. But it's been a wild day. Sorry, let me drink some water. This is driving me nuts. But anywho, we've also been post-merge. Ethereum's pulled back something like 30% post-merge. And it bounced as well on a double pivot. And this we identified last time on the last stream. We have a double pivot here, and we put this red block. We tagged it as well as the reversion rainbow. So really, really cool to see that. Because if you guys are following along, we covered this last stream. And frankly, this is what I warned about as well. And in the Discord and the stream, I was really worried about losing this double pivot right here. And the reason being is when you see double pivots stacked on top of each other, they're very, very, very important because they're almost like to the dollar. But what bothered me, I kept seeing it hit over and over and over, and that concerns me because the more times something's tested, eventually the whales typically try to get through it. What you normally see on the opposite is they come up to it and they go right through it, and then they fade, and then it completely reverses, right? In this case, they kept banging their head on the wall, and they got through it, and it completely nuked. But check out where price went. Right to the H4 pivot blocker right here. I mean, this is almost to the dollar. To the penny, almost. I mean, that's insane. 1280. I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on pivots. Maybe tell your friends. Maybe not if you want to stay ahead of the game. I mean, and what I've told people is like I programmed this, I figured it out. Why whales respect it to the dollar, I cannot tell you, but I know it's repeatable. So it's really cool to see that bounce ricochet off. And right now we are 8% off of that. That is awesome. So maybe we can reclaim this, and that would be really, really cool. I want to see this turned into support. They've got to break through it and retest it, and then maybe we can get an attempt at that. That's what I would like to see. But where are we at right now? We are a day or two away from the FOMC meeting. I think FOMC starts tomorrow and it goes till Wednesday. And around 2 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to know what Jerome Powell and his buddies at the Fed are going to do in regards to crypto, or in regards to the markets, which affects crypto, believe it or not. And the problem is, you don't know if he's going to say 0, 25, 50, 75, 125, 99. No one knows. Right now, the estimate is it's likely a 75, but it could come in low at a 50. It could come high at 100. Regardless, the S&P 500 is going to move based on that data. Now, going into FOMC, the S&P 500 did really well today. It pumped up. Now, this is bearish, right? We have an inverted head and shoulders here. And we also have a retest here of this pivot, which was rejected, and we fell all the way back down. So if we go into the FOMC in like 2 days, say Wednesday afternoon, and they come in and say 100% basis points, markets will automatically drop no matter what. Also on the flip side, Stacks pointed this out they've come in low before on the last FOMC meetings, immediately pumped and then dumped. So be careful. Don't get caught either way. Most wise people, though traders more intelligent than me, they know what upcoming events are coming in the week, and they kind of just sit cash, and they don't really guess. The last CPI report that we had, a lot of the inner circles were rumbling that it was coming in low. Really low. But guess what? CPI came in too hot, and Bitcoin nuked the instant that data came out. So you wouldn't think like crypto would care about real world data. It does. So this stuff affects stuff. And the big calendar event is Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern time. So be very, very, very careful. Anyway, let me check up chat because you guys are hitting it up. Maverick Twitch, EG Proxy. Oh, Vital, what's up, dude? Stoked on the early stream. Absolutely. Already priced in, yes. But we don't know which way it's priced in. What's up, Tom? Doppel, what's up, dude? Yeah, they do hide their stops, and even that's something I do with like my algorithms. I don't let anything sit in limits, so I hit it all with market orders, so none of my positions can be seen. But I digress. Regardless, if you can't see, we've been drawing pivot blocks all over this. I'm trying to keep it simple so people can understand these tools better. When you have your double pivots at the bottom, that's your first order block. You have another one down here. I would draw it up to the candle, the shoulder, and have the wick out here because there's not a double pivot on the H4. There's a double pivot here and there's double pivot here. If you also want to draw the bell curve, you can see where we are as well. And it's roughly this area here on the bottom bell curve data. This is where I really like to get long. We barely wicked below it here, shot up above it. We wicked below it here. Now we've shot up again. Now we'll see if it comes down and does a third time. The last time we tested it was down here. And the last thing I kind of want to see it, but I kind of don't. I would love to see a support bounce on this bottom level. But with that being said, that type of stuff scares me because the last thing I want to see is price come down, hit it, then go. And I don't want to have to talk on a stream where we're at $15,000. I want to talk where we're at like 30,000, right? So that's my worry. But that's the game plan. If all hell breaks loose, expect some contention here, but see what it does. If it reverses, that's going to be an amazing long because you're probably going to be facing up these mean reversions. If it's go time, you're going to get it up here, and that's going to be insane, along from like 17 to like 24. I doubt you'll get all that in one move, but you never know. Crazier things have happened. So we shall see. Also, I thought this was kind of funny. If you're a big fan of Barry Silbert, I am a huge fan of Barry Silbert. If anybody knows him, let him know I'm a huge fan. He's become self-aware that every time he says it's going to be a big week, price tends to nuke. So he's come out and just said it's going to be a small week this week. So shout out to Barry Silbert. That is awesome. If you don't know who he is, he's like the CEO GOAT of Grayscale. I personally follow him and have notifications because this dude will start retweeting and will start tweeting actual Zcash posts before Zcash just goes ham. So he tells you like they're about to go bid. So it's kind of interesting. But as much as I respect Silbert, I also thought this was funny. The Terra co-founder Do Kwon is on the run and tweeting about it. Interpol's actually looking for him right now on Red Alert. So this is just welcome to 2022, right? Welcome to crypto. He's on the run from the law. South Korea put out a warrant for his arrest. It's time that the Luna Bro goes down, in my opinion. So, anywho. And since most of you guys also like to talk whales, I wanted to talk about something kind of to switch tunes. We know what printed this, right? We also kind of know what started the party here, and you wouldn't have caught it in traditional methods. But one of the things that happened before we saw all the alts capitulate last night, and if I'm going too fast, stop me and I can pivot. But what's up, Kobe? I see you. KNC nuked, and this is something Doppel and I talked about last stream. KNC had been rocking and rolling, and it was kind of going into a channel walk, and it completely fell off the face of the earth. And it fell 33% in like a few hours. And people were like, what on earth? And we started looking for the news, like what happened to KNC? Was there a news event in which bad things happened? Fundamentally, was the coin hacked? Were the founders arrested? Not the name Do Kwon. But anything like that. He didn't do Luna. Or he only did Luna, not this one. But something was like up. And we're like, why on earth are this dumping, this big coin that's been super, super bullish, dumped 30%? And then we started seeing the cascading of all the other alts and all the other Bitcoins falling apart. Test, Vital. Can you hear me? It's fine. Sorry, I was talking a little loud. I'm getting passionate here if you can't tell, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Well, check this out. Somebody saw that Alameda themselves transferred 11.6 million KNC to Binance, $16 million. And the price went from $1.87 to $1.33 upon that wallet exchange. Now the question is, why did Alameda do this? This is something to spot. This is also FTX related. Alameda, if you're not familiar with them, go look them up. Sam Turbucco and Caroline, I forgot her last name. They were the ones mainly behind Alameda as of late, albeit Turbucco's sailed off on his amazing boat and kissed the world goodbye. Shout out to the GOAT. But anywho, on-chain guys saw this happen. They saw a flagged Alameda wallet transfer in $16 million worth of KNC, and Alameda dumped it. Now, the question I have, and maybe we'll find out later, did Alameda maybe know that the market was going to dump, and this is the altcoin that they got caught on, and people saw it, or was Alameda trying to force a swing low by somehow kicking off KNC? I don't really know because I haven't seen any other Alameda posts show up, but as you can see, that's a hell of a candle, and it was on Binance, so it's Binance Spot. That's insane, and they market bid it. Now, mind you, Alameda could definitely bleed off over a few hours, $16 million without affecting market. So either they were panicking or they were trying to send a message. Remember, whales only show themselves when they want to be shown. So, like in typical fashion, whales can typically move without printing whale prints unless they're trying to do something. So either Alameda was scared and trying to get out of a position, or they bailed, trying to send a message. And right now, I'm actually kind of considering a long here now that this is fully rotated. The dust is settled. I doubt Alameda is going to come back and hit this again. But that's my take on that one. And it was interesting because we saw all this before Bitcoin fell, before Ethereum crashed, all this stuff. So you got to actually see Alameda moving before the rest of the market, and they dumped it. So shortly after that, that's when we saw Ethereum come down here and do a range sweep low, right? And we tagged this support pivot block. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. I would like to get another jump across the creek, but I'm not sure if we will. But just to be frank, we don't know what Jerome Powell's going to say, and anybody who tells you he knows what the number is before they actually say it is just lying to you. They don't know, and how frankly the government keeps that so hush hush is kind of awesome, considering how many leaks happen on so many other things. But regardless, we got to see what happens Wednesday, and until then, you're just kind of gambling. So maybe if you get some really tight stop loss entries, I wouldn't be messing around with a lot of stuff right now, guys. So that's the truth of it. But you only got to wait till Wednesday, right? So hang on and just chill out, because this is not a I say that's not a relatively large position for Alameda, but 16 million, 16 million. So anyway, speaking of bots, a lot of people picked this up on AVAX, and I thought it was really awesome because people are really, really confused. If you're not familiar, humans can't do this. This is a computer algorithm that someone programmed. And you could go see it on AVAX, I think on like the 2-minute charts or 1-minute charts, but I thought it was really, really cool. Let's go look at it real quick. We can actually go see this. I think it was on the 1 minute. When was that? This was 1 minute candles, September 17th at 9:08. So September 17th. Somewhere in here. There it is. Now I'm going to lose it because I went to 1 minute. Thank you for the follow. Oh, there it is. Isn't that cool? Now disregard the tools and stuff because you can get it to work on 1 minute, but you really got to tune it. But isn't that awesome? Somebody messed up their algorithm or turned it on to test it for about an hour. They ran this for an hour. It's probably for test data, to be honest with you, but it was pretty cool. There you go. Snap in the chat. CoinDesk. Let's check it out. DeFi trader nets over 500K by using DEX GMX to manipulate Avalanche token. Awesome. That is awesome. Way to find that one out. Yeah, so someone abused it. That's a whale that made 500K in an hour doing this wiggle. And I don't even think this wiggle was that much. 2.5%. It's crazy. Turn on volume bars. I don't have volume bars. I have my volume. Yeah, that's crazy, the impulse. What's up, Strictly? Yeah, that's a pretty damn big impulse. That's crazy. And the dude made $500,000 in an hour. And congrats to that guy. if someone finds a way to do something and they can be profitable, as long as it's not like stealing someone's wallet, I'm all for it. You beat the game. Congrats, right? As much crap as I talk about like Alameda, like I highly respect Sam Turbucco and I highly fear him. I would never want to trade against that guy. He's the greatest. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's cool. And thank you so much, Snap, for sharing that link. Speaking of people I don't respect, the CFTC commissioner visited the Ripple offices as a decision on the SE case looms. So one thing I would like to point out is, and I've covered it in like old school streams, there's some point at which XRP is going to finish their court case. Whether they win, whether they lose, we don't know. But I will say this: XRP, as much as I don't really like them, they have been putting the wood to the SEC in court, and they've been doing quite well, quite well. And it's kind of looking like they might win. And if they win, XRP is going to have a god candle from. I mean, it's going to be just straight up pink, crazy numbers on the rainbow stuff. And I thought this was crazy that they actually visited them in person. And then secondly, I didn't know Ripple had a real headquarters, so that's news to me. And then also Cointelegraph picked this up. XRP price risk 30% decline despite Ripple's legal win prospects. So they've been in battle for over a year. They may pull this off and it'll be awesome. Thank you for the follow. But I don't know. I don't really like XRP because it's heavily manipulated by a single source. But it is what it is. But anywho, oh yeah, since we're speaking SEC, if you don't know, Ian Bellina was the guy who was like behind Dragon Chain, I believe. And this is like 2017 area scam pump coins. This is the one that allegedly was developed by Disney and then released. It mooned quite spectacularly. He got busted. They're gonna charge him for promoting an unregistered ICO. So it's 2022, and the SEC is now getting around to the 2017 scams. So that's kind of fun, and maybe in 2027 we'll see the 2022 scammers get caught up in legal battles. So we shall see. Strictly, I do use bots. I use my own, and I use them. I don't do DeFi at all. So, for what that's worth. Another thing, just macro wise, I wanted to slow down and kind of zoom out because we're looking at a lot of stuff at a slower time scale. And truth be told, I think it goes two ways. I personally think you're at the end of. You're either at the greatest entry in history that you're going to see in the next 5 years, or we've got another year or so of really hard times ahead of us. And this is the Bitcoin rainbow price chart. No, I didn't write this, even though I have stuff like it. Rarely ever does Bitcoin get into this lower quadrant, and we're in it right now. And this coincides a lot with the Mayer multiple and the regression charts. I think this is actually a regression chart, albeit my data looks a little different. And I can pull that up in a minute, but I wanted to speak to it is, this looks good, this looks amazing, but if you're on board this train, I wanted to speak to you about something as a legit bear argument. This entire chart has been during a bull run. From the inception of Bitcoin, since they've got it recorded here at like $6 back in like 2011 or so, this has been a bull market. We don't have Bitcoin price data on the 2008 type of financial crisis, which was the most recent one, right? So keep that in mind. There's a lot of stuff to say this could be the bottom, but we don't have the data of what Bitcoin does if the S&P completely goes into like a depression recessionary area. So keep that in mind. You see, yeah. So, and that's kind of what leads me into this news-wise. The 30-year mortgages are going through the roof, and these type of percentages doesn't sound like a lot, but it completely crushes new home buyers. It kills their monthly payments, which prevents um, a lot of people from affording the houses that they want, and it's going to slow a lot of stuff down. You're also going to see supply chain stuff slow down because people are going to quit um, building like that. So building up new houses and consuming wood and all that goes along with this. So I've heard some people talk about like Home Depot seriously slowing down from what they were like 6 months ago. So I'm really keeping an eye on this because the mortgages are really reflective of the housing crisis, or not the housing crises. They're really reflective of what the market is doing in regards to the FOMC rate hikes. Where is the 30-year? Yeah. So it is full sending. Today it closed at 6.02 officially on this chart. And it's still going up. And like this is a channel walk down. So if you inverted it, it would be like a channel walk up. Normally, my data, I say 60% is what I look for. So maybe that's what the pivot is right there. 6.81 is maybe what we're going to get to. Then maybe it falls off. But historic wise, like the United States has seen rates as high as like 18, 20%. So we don't really know how high this is going to go. The thing it all goes down to is when the Fed's going to pivot, and no one knows yet. I will say this, the Fed will pivot at some point. That's coming. Whether it comes this year, comes next year, that's the part we don't know. He's talking about running off that book, and he's talking about getting inflation down to 2%. We're at over 8% right now. So I don't know how he'll send it, but it could be pretty crazy. So, hey Maverick, I can't show you the rainbow chart on the S&P because I think it's a Bitcoin specific regression curve. So, we shall just a side note there. But that's where we're at, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens because I think, frankly, I think the Fed is only moving to save the dollar, and I think that's the only reason why they're doing it because they're risking hyperinflation, and if they lose the dollar as the world reserve currency, game's over. Like the whole world is going to go into a really, really bad place if the dollar goes to zero. Basically all the debt goes to infinity. Like it gets really, really weird there. But anywho, looking at dollar, we're looking at the DXY here. I typically look at this on the 3-day chart to get the colors right because this thing moves so slowly. But the pivot block right here is at 118 to 121 is where we're looking at. And there's nothing really in between this pivot block here and the low 100s to that 120. So I think it's going to tag it. I just don't know if we're going to get it anytime soon. Again, this all goes down to what the Fed is going to do. The more the Fed increases rates, the higher this is going to go. But eventually, the Fed is going to come out and say 0 basis points. And then they're going to say another month later, 0 basis points. And then eventually the market's going to turn around, and then you're going to start seeing the Fed eventually start saying negative 25, negative 50, negative. They're going to start pulling the interest rates back. When that's going to happen, I have no idea. But until he does that, I'm really interested in hearing what this dude says. And also, when Jerome Powell talks tomorrow or talks Wednesday, I'm really interested in his tone. I really want to see how he says it. Is he super, super, super bearish, or is he like hopeful and thinking this is the last rate hike? We don't really know. Maybe he just says that's the last one. Let's all go to Applebee's, right, and go get some dollar margaritas. Who knows? I think they've got endless buffalo wings right now, so that would be cool. I digress. 30-year mortgage is going up, but speaking of CPI was kind of just barely worse last month. And I wanted to point something out here. CPI print is heavily influenced by the price of energy, mainly oil. And right now, the strategic petroleum reserves are being completely dumped, and it's flooding the market. And it's flooding the market, and it's making the prices at the pump go down. Albeit, they can't continue to do this for years. Frankly, if they keep going at this rate and keep increasing, like they will run out of oil in so many X amount of months. It just depends how much they do it. But like it's the lowest it's been since 1984. And Biden came out and said they're going to bid at $80, and the Saudis said they're going to slow down production at 90. So maybe we get stuck in 80 to 90 on oil. We don't really know yet. But I can tell you this, I want oil to bottom out because in 2008, oil took off and went parabolic when the S&P started coming down. And lo and behold, the S&P started coming down and oil went parabolic. And this also coincided with the current conflict we have over in Russia, but it went parabolic. And now that the S&P is coming down, oil's coming down too. And this is also something that we saw the parity flip in 2008, and it bottomed. Oil bottomed out with S&P about, give or take, I think 3 to 5 days. So in the back of my head, I kind of want oil to bottom out around midterms. What price it is, I don't know. All I'm looking for is a sharp V bottom sometime around the same time the S&P is trying to V bottom. Is what I'm looking at. Thank you for the follow, PC Shed. I see you there. Make sure to hop on the Discord and say hi. But anywho, that's wishful thinking, and maybe we'll get it. Maybe the war's over and we get midterms over, and 2023 is the year of the bull. I don't really know yet. Maybe the moon phase is not retrograde. I don't really know. But oil's not looking so hot here, which is a good thing, because you got to remember, as much as like you want to like have high oil, if you're long like Chevron and Oxy, this is inflation fuel, literally. No pun intended. The higher this goes, the higher inflation's going to go, and people are going to struggle with it. But we'll see. They're cranking up the rates. They're dumping the reserves. They're trying to bring this under control. I'm not really for a market that's manipulated like that. I think the market should roll and become healthier over time, but I don't get to make those decisions. But I am watching this, and that's kind of what I'm looking for. I'm really interested to see what happens in October, November timeframe. And we're getting close there, right? October's almost here. Another awesome guy, if you don't follow him, John J. Brown. Highly, highly respected dude. He says some true alpha. Vital is a big, big fan of him. But anyway, this was a really cool thing he showed today. It was saying in 1981, U.S. inflation was 10.3%, and the Fed rate was 20. Today, markets are already in depression when rates are 3.5%, while inflation is at 8.3. So realistically, if we were going to try to measure what the hawkish Fed did in the 1980s, the BPS points right now should be at like 10% APR or 10%. We're nowhere near this. So if they come in at like we might get to 4% this week, maybe. So it kind of sucks. Is that's going to make the Band-Aid take a little bit longer to rip off. But let me check something. Yeah, Charles Edwards posted something today, and I totally forgot about it. Yeah, here it is. Sorry, I didn't have this picked up. But Charles Edwards, quantitative trader that I really respect, the guy who's actually behind Hash Ribbons, and definitely go follow him if you haven't. He says some really cool stuff. The most bullish chart in the world, inflation is topped. And what he has here is a chart of the, I think this is, yeah, the S&P 500. And he has the PPI and the CPI, YOY, year over year. Yeah. That's the 12-month sliding average. And he's showing that they've peaked and that they're starting to come down. And he's picking up on something really cool, is showing you that the controls are starting to work against inflation. This is what I was going back to just a few minutes ago. They're dumping oil and they're increasing rates. They're pulling this back. Now, the oil stuff is only a temporary measure, so I suspect this is going to start pulling up a little bit more, and they're going to have to keep increasing rates. I think that's going to be representative of what we have to realistically to get inflation down. Or dumping the strategic reserve isn't really affecting the price of oil. Maybe that's what's happening, and it doesn't. Maybe we just get this with rate hikes. Who knows yet? But he's picking up on the turn, and this is an awesome chart. I didn't know you could do CPI and PPI on TradingView, and I'm actually going to be looking up that later tonight. So to spin this all around, because I'm speaking a lot of bullish stuff, a lot of bearish stuff, I think we're getting close. Could be a lot longer. Maybe this war goes longer. Maybe we have a lot more issues. No one really knows yet. All I'm saying is don't be itching to get into position. Let this stuff print. Let it come to you. Like, you know the timeline. Inflation, assuming they actually beat it and it doesn't go to infinity, it's going to come down eventually at some point. And also, the Fed will stop increasing rates at some point. That will happen. Wait for that, and you'll get a really good idea of where this thing bottoms out. I don't think you're going to get. I think you're going to be entering early if the Fed is still increasing rates. That's my personal opinion on the market bottom for like the S&P 500. Now, if Jerome gets this thing under control, it's going to be timed pretty damn well for the Bitcoin halvenings. Oh shoot, I didn't have it up. Give me a second. Hashtag ProStreamer. I'm completely prepared. No, it's Bitcoin halvening chart. Which, by the way, I'm a huge. Nope, it's not that. It's stock to flow. I'm really hashtag ProStreamer today. Yeah, it is looking at Bitcoin. I thought. Yeah. Okay. So, I forgot who created this. Doppel's in the chat. You know, if you can name it, who it is. A lot of people badmouth this indicator, and I think people just want clout. Plan B. So Plan B created this, and I think people just like crapping on each other in crypto Twitter, and it really, really upsets me because everyone should be cool and chill. This is why we can't have nice things. But the one thing I wanted to point it out, because the only thing people care about is, did you go above this red line? The model's broken. The model's broken. Halvenings are not broken, and these bottom colors aren't broken. So ignore this red line. But look at the colors where we're at. We're at this light blue area in regards to the Bitcoin bottom. That was right here back in 2015. And believe it or not, I don't have the best eyes for blues. Oh, I'm going to screw that up. Yep. Oh. Reload. I have a really hard time seeing blue gradients. I think we're somewhere around here. Would be my guess. If you did the manual math, you could catch it. But regardless, what I'm saying is, ignore this red line. In typical fashion, if you buy this blue color, the transition from light blue to blue, for like all of history of this, those have been really, really, really good entry points. And if that's saying is, we're getting pretty damn close here. So keep that in mind. Maybe go pull up this old chart, and it's free to look at. Look into Bitcoin.com, stock to flow model. Plan B has been shit on all over Twitter, and it's a damn shame. And the dude even blocked me, even though like I support this model. This is when whales accumulate light blues to blues, and they sell the yellows and greens, and they do it year after year after year, cycle after cycle after cycle. So, are we going to bottom here, or are we going to have a little more downturn? I don't really know. But as long as the market, overall world's economy doesn't bottom out, it's looking like we're getting there, guys. So that's like my main message there as far as hope. So if you give me a second, I can actually turn on the Mayer multiple, and I got to turn off a bunch of other stuff because this really dirties up the chart. Channel Walker, funding candles. Yeah, let me turn off pivots, and then it should be sweet. All right, here we are. So Mayer multiple, and by the way, this tool is coming out soon. Shout out to Doppel because I wasn't going to release this, and then he was bugging me for it. So go look at the Mayer multiple. Just Google it. I didn't come up with it, but no one knows how to visualize the damn thing. So I'd been trading a custom tool that I built a long time ago, and it looked awful, but Doppel wanted it, so it's coming out with a hard launch on Rainbow Trends. You guys will get access to it. But long story short, it measures the standard deviations based off the 200 daily moving average and how far you can push price away from the 200 daily moving average. And traditionally, you can tell this thing identifies when you're pushing bottoms, aka these last two standard deviations, right? And historically, this lines up with stock to flow. Like when you're in these bottoms, you're printing this stuff out at these ranges. And only like in the very beginning does it really ever break it. And that's 2011 when price was like $3. So disregard that, kind of, right? Bitcoin's gotten less volatile over time. Long story short, the Mayer multiple is one of the greatest tools of all time for calling tops and calling bottoms, and people sleep on it all the time. You can see in 20 when we went to 2017 all-time high, that was the color you blew it out at, and we went fully parabolic. 2019, we went parabolic as well and hit this big channel. Check it out. Do you see our channel? Definitely all-time high stuff here. Now, mind you, that was only 40,000, but it kept tagging it out, and you actually can see, if you pair up the Mayer multiple with the colors, you can see the color rotations. It's getting weaker and weaker and weaker, right? And even here, even though this was an all-time high, it's much, much weaker. If we'd actually gotten up here, we'd have had six-figure Bitcoin. But it's bear market time, guys. So if you missed Mayer multiple then, don't miss it now. Pay attention to it, and if you want a visual representation of it, we will be releasing this at the end of the month. And right now, guys, like we're in the bottom. Like this is GOAT tier. If you get anything in that range, that's typically the all-time like GOAT tier stuff, right? Like this is the COVID crash. COVID crash couldn't break through it. We barely hit it here, or we strung through it. So Mayer multiple's telling you, hey, pay attention. This is actually, you don't want to buy this, but maybe start bidding this and just DCAing into it. That's what it's saying. Now, mind you, like I said before, the caveat is this is all bull market data. Like we don't have Bitcoin back in the 2000 crash. We don't have Bitcoin data in the 2008 crash, right? So keep that in mind. But Mayer multiple is telling you we're bottoming out, right? So it's kind of cool to see that. Mayer multiple. What's that other tool? Well, there was another one I wanted to reference. I don't remember. Huh. If I come up with it later, I'll throw it in the Discord. We can go check that out. But anyway, I digress. And then let me set. No, let me turn that off. Funding candles off. Let me switch this back to defaults. That way we get the pivots back. There they are. So, Charles Edwards, big rant there, big change. Go check him out. He checks hash ribbons a lot. Also, I'm talking about bear market things. I want to show some positive lights. GCR is like one of the greatest of all time. He doesn't care about the bear market. He's still trading, and he's figuring it out. So I can't trade this well, but I can tell you this. Some people can get to that, and there are trades in the mix. And if you're waiting for the trade to come to you and print to you, it's there, but it takes skill. Don't let anybody fool you to think this is easy. And join my pay group for blah, blah, blah a month. They can't spoon feed you this stuff. But we've been trying to paint this, and we've been putting it on the Discord, and I've been putting it all over Twitter. There are ranges. There are trades. And you get in sync with your whales, find your colors, find your entries, find your tunings. You can do some damage. People laugh that I trade Zcash. Zcash is one of the easiest things for me to trade just because of the coloring. The way these whales work, they're very volatile and they move a lot and they do the same moves over and over and over and over and over. And we got an order block bounce today, and it's still going up. So I threw a little long in here. I think I might have got wicked out, but regardless, it's predictable. And we've been covering it since here. And you can go see it on the previous streams. We were wanting an entry in the low 50s, and we just got it. So, find your whales. That's all I can say. Oh, yeah. This is weird. Today is September the 19th, and Mexico just went through a freaking earthquake. A very large one. So, shout out to our compadres. This sucks, but this is kind of spooky. They've had big earthquakes on September 19th. which I can't explain any of that. Maybe it's the moon phases. I have no idea. But I just wanted to point that out because that was kind of crazy. Oh, and this post didn't get a lot of love, but if you want to see my historical takes, go find this one on Twitter, and you can see me posting the rainbow charts on the different financial crises: 2008, 2001, COVID crash, and where we are now. Um, and I personally think we're looking at the 2008 version, and we just haven't got the bottom yet, personally, which means it's really, really going to hurt. But I don't want to see this and have it go for 2 years. So you can see some of that stuff there. This is also, I did it late, but this is a really cool thing. I'll actually link it in the Discord. This is a chart showing you inflation with the energy adjustments. And I can't zoom into it enough to see it, but regardless, this is showing you the CPI prints based off the different commodities, so you can actually see the data of them like dumping the oil and how it's affecting CPI. But go check it out in the chat. I just threw it in there. Thought it was really cool. And you guys are doing the game, so here we go. See ya. I'm probably enjoying this add-on more than you guys. But the daily is about to close. That's about all I've got. If you guys want to look at some certain coins, we can go scan the list real quick. Rari with a God candle. Ape. Stacks was wanting to know about this one. It's an NFT based on apes, and it's highly, 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 highly volatile. But, man, gun to my head, maybe it does another run like this where it keeps bouncing off of this channel walker tool. Maybe. But there's a news event coming where they're going to start having staking available on the ape token. So they're going to start staking. I think it's going to be like, I don't remember what percentage, but it's pretty interesting. And then also, I think there's a lot of people that are into the ape token that aren't really into crypto too much. They're going to be exposed to staking. So that'll be kind of interesting. Algo. Crazy bounce on Algo. ENS wicked the pivot. Adam is on a crazy run. I don't know the news behind it. Adam is in complete honey badger mode. Adam does not care what Bitcoin's doing. Adam does not care what the S&P 500 is doing. It is going straight up. So pretty interesting there. Fi2, Solana caught a bid. Check out the pivot block. Now, if Solana breaks that, obviously the 3-touch downtrend, probably going to be talking about trying to get this in the mid 36s. But I'm going to wait till it happens, personally. And typically with these, what I want to see is a breakout, a retest sweep, and then go. But this doesn't look like a lot to play with. 8%, it's not a lot on that setup. So I'm not too worried about it. Comp. Oh, man. I like comp a lot. I wish I traded it more. Let me switch this over to green. Can you imagine if you'd have caught that bid today on that pivot? 12% on spot. Or 15 if you got it at the top. That's insane. CRV as well. Bouncing off the reversion rainbow. Didn't get to that pivot. Let's see if there's a pivot there on the 2-hour. No. Just bouncing off the reversion rainbow, which is fair. Ave. No. Shib. Bounced off the triple. There's your SHIB support block, and it tagged it, wicked into it, and then bounced, but it hasn't full sent yet. Filecoin, ICP, Bancor, Zcash. Zcash is doing awesome. Ethereum Classic nuked. I really thought Ethereum Classic was going to make a gigantic bark potentially, and it still might, but this thing ran up to the halvening, or not the halvening, the Ethereum merge. It very well may come down here, and then we've got our Bart Simpson. I really worry about that. But I will say this: if it does start to happen, that's a hell of a short. Yeah, that's a 50% short potentially. So if you degens want to get stupid with it, that might be a setup, and you're just gonna have to wait for it to start free falling. Mana went through that and starting to come back up. AVAX, IMAX. Not really seeing too much. But maybe we'll see it in 30 minutes to an hour, see what Asia comes in with. Cake's doing really good. All the market downturn, it's kind of going higher. Shout out to Binance Smart Chain. EOS with a reversion hit. That's not bad. That actually printed a white candle. You want to look at one? Harmony. Yeah, Harmony tagged the pivot again. It went a little deeper though. Like I don't like seeing that hold, that a little lower, that a little lower. I don't like that personally, but it did hold and it bounced. And then you have a support down here as well. That's your second layer of support, right? And then this is your obvious TP range. Well, I hope it's obvious. I'm going to keep drawing these until you guys draw them for me. So there's a lot of guys trying to figure it out in the chat or in the Discord. And shout out to you guys because you're learning. Because it just makes support and resistance levels over and over and over and over. So you just zigzag. Long, short, long, short, long, short. But yeah, that's my take on that one. If that holds, I would go TP1 there and TP2 there, and maybe TP3 or moonbag it. Who knows? This would be TP3. That pivot to that pivot. And since we are in the chat, not in the chat, since we're live, Vital. TP1, TP2. We can check this later. TP3 and see if we're right. CRX bouncing on the lower. See how this one went to a lower pivot altogether. That might be a good one though, but that's such a weird chart pattern. Litecoin did this, and I didn't like it because I hadn't seen this a lot, and I didn't want to navigate it personally. Because it's like you had a range, it dropped to a lower range, and then it started interfering with this range price again, and then it dropped lower. Like, it's really weird setup for me. Doge is not doing good. Which is crazy because Elon's talking about it. Matic. Actually, speaking of, I kind of want to check Netflix because Netflix had such a bad drop. Yeah. It printed another entry. Post-market, it's higher. They've got earnings on October. Let's check Costco. Costco rejected that pivot. Let me draw this while we're here. Wrong green, but you know. Disney. That is not Disney. Disney's pulling back as well. Tagged the reversion rainbow, printed a sell signal. It's coming back. Earnings coming up in November. How's Amazon doing? Oh, I want to check FedEx. FedEx Newt. Amazon, same damn chart. FedEx. Trying. And this is what's cool about split volume. Somebody's buying. Somebody's buying a lot of FedEx right now. And it is white. White. Candles deep into the reversion bands. And that's not the deepest we've seen. That was the deepest, which is COVID. So we're at COVID levels right now. Almost. Yeah. almost. So yeah, check out that buy candle. So yeah, I tell you what, whales are buying this. Faux show. Now, if the world economy collapses, this trade's gonna die. But whales buying. Massive, massive, massive entries. Double whale print. So not bad. I'll put that there so we can check it out later. MTL? For show. I used to trade MTL a lot. Because it would go on these crazy, crazy runs for no damn reason. And it would be like the top performing thing on Binance, and then it would die off. If you caught the run, you'd be alright. I wouldn't touch this. Personally. Yeah, this is a really weird chart. The capitulation here, and now it's just kind of got a range, but it's excuse me, it's definitely got that. That's the wrong green. That one, yeah, that one's right. Can't see blues the best, but I can see greens well. I don't like this at all. Not to say it won't pop up, but it's not giving me warm and fuzzies, right? That's lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. Karate chop this VWAP tool and then hold it, and I'll get really interested. Or if you break through these triple pivots and like maybe look for that, and then your target would be up here. Like, don't overthink this stuff. Watch your colors, watch your pivots, watch your whale prints. Maybe. But I don't see any whale prints down here either, but this is a low volume coin, so keep that in mind. You got like 35% to play with. I wouldn't try to get an exit above that too much. I'd be really interested to get the exit right on that TP line or just below it, or the pivot line. Because you can see how many times it was rejected here, right? Like if you get that, if you're long and you get that, take it for sure. That's like 25-30%. So, anywho, with that being said, I am gonna get going, and never mind. I got a few more minutes. If you guys have any other things, let me know. Otherwise, hop on the Discord or shoot me a DM on Twitter. All my links, all my infos are on the bios. Thank you, M4. I'm drawing all over this damn chart. Check XMR. Actually, I wanted to check up on this. That's not so hot. I don't want to touch that till down there. So let's see if we can find someone to raid. Give me a second. Then I gotta go do dinner with the kiddos. Let's try crypto and see if there's any people trying to start out. Otherwise, we're going. Hey! Can raid myself? Oh, we're nowhere near the top. Thanks for showing up. I'll try to keep doing these more often. These guys are obviously not there.
Lo voy a mandar porque en el móvil la encontré.
Nope.
Por...
Want to protect your family with life insurance? Visit simple.havenlife.com to buy
Whatever.
issue term life
This guy may be
insurance
good, may be bad. I don't know. I'm gonna raid.
Haven
See you guys.
policy starts at just $14 a month. Go to simple.havenlife.com and apply today.
Stressed out? Time to refresh your rhythm with Trident. Trident Gum, the fresh chew to refresh your rhythm.
Les plateformes peuvent avoir 1000 de différence. Là. Pas sur la plateforme Exmo, là. Oh, ouais, mais la différence de prix, gros. Ben, halluciné, là. Pas sur la plateforme Exmo. E-X-M-O. Tu comprendras pas, là. Le Bitcoin doit être à 22 000, dude. Ouais, pareil, ouais. Bonheur. Let's go. Hey, merci pour le ride, dude. Hey. Merci pour le ride, man. Fuck, j'ai tout fait ma musique, là. Ça va mourir, man. Dude. Attends une minute. Attends.